All right. Shalom, and shalom, Sister Deborah, prophetess in the wilderness. And you know what? That's all right with me. Coming again on this Deborah platform with another message. And I will say this is a lovely evening in which the Most High Yah has made. And I, Sister Deborah, shall and I will rest therein. I'm coming with a message today, and it's we fight against what? We fight against what? The fight is against what? It doesn't make any sense. So, what I come to understand is the door in which the Father is about to cause me to enter therein, which is the next step, is one like no other. That means I'm going to go into the wilderness and be taught things that has not been taught, has not been spoken of, has not been brought forth out of the darkness. So I know that that's has a great deal to do with it because of the things he continuing to put upon me. He's putting a whole bunch on me. My ex-husband said to me this morning, he said, do you remember within the last week, everything he has said to you, it happens either that same hour, that same day? Don't you think that's kind of? Yes, I do think it's kind of, because it reminded me when I was a little girl and I was able to see into things and it would happen instant. Okay. So he's just reminding me of things that him and I have experienced, me speaking it to him within an hour, bam, there it is. So he wants to keep me understanding things that you done said. Didn't you see how it come to pass instant? He's trying to keep me reminded of many things that's happening and happening fast. Let's give you an example. I was in the store, him and I, yesterday. He went in one direction to get him some meat, and I went into the cold section. I had a Sprite soda in a cup, and I set it up on a stand. I set this cup up on this little frozen stand. I mean, perfect for it. I mean, it could hold it. But the spirit said something to me. And it says, Deborah, you put that up there, it's going to fall and spill soda all over the place. You know what I said? No, it won't. No, it won't. I left it there. And the spirit said to me again, Deborah, it's going to fall onto the floor. Oh, no, it won't. No, it won't. It's too balanced. No, it's not going to fall. The third time, it said, look at the soda. Bam, there the soda fell on the floor. What's the big idea, Deborah? What is it with that? The Father is showing me that the small things, the little things, are about to turn into big things. He's just showing me how if you think just something as simple as a drink on a shelf that I warned you about 3 times and you obeyed not. And what I told you about it, it happened. So my husband's sitting there, when should I call the maintenance? No, I told the guy in the freezer section, please tell them that I spilled the soda. It's all over the place. And my husband, he was so eager to try to find somebody to get it up. I said, they'll take care of it. And then I went on to telling him. It told me 3 times before it fell on the 3rd time, but it warned me. But I didn't. I didn't take heed to it. So I was speaking to you all even about a couple of nights ago. I couldn't measure if it was a dream or a vision, but it was about my oldest daughter getting involved with a young man that she was once involved with. Now the young man has this arrogant mindset, and he's like what they call an alpha, and he's also a melanated man, but he loves white women. Okay, so I'm like saying, okay, he didn't express himself to you. Why? No, that's not what I said. This is what I'm saying in the dream. In the dream, I saw her and him together. You know, I'm not going to tell you where, but I saw them together. Then I saw a clip of the first picture him and her took. I didn't have any idea what that picture means. And why was it in a vision or a dream of what I was experiencing that early, like 2 and 3 in the morning? Why is it in mine? What's that got to do with me? That was 3 years ago. Him and her ain't been involved in 3 years. So I'm like saying, what does that have to do with me? So that next morning, my son, Quiet Storm, called me and he said, Mama, Crystal want to know that her boyfriend just filled out his paper for his house, and he wants someone to do an overall cleaning. This is what Quiet Storm. Him and I started a cleaning service, and we have not had one contract. And the reason why is because where we are at today. People are not cleaning anything. You know how you used to have a grade A in restaurant? You have the A or A plus. Nowadays, they don't even have, they can have an F and you'll eat out of it. By law, they don't have to follow no protocol. Those days are over. So when you go into places, you see all this dirty and clean and it's dirty. And I'm like saying, how could this doctor's office be this nasty? It's because Babylon has already fallen. Like I explained to you all for several years. But we are just looking at Babylon as falling when some country bomb it or when we are waiting for something before we feel this thing. But Sister Deborah don't have to wait. I feel Deuteronomy 26. I feel Revelation 18. I done salute that bad boy in a way that I already feel it, see it, and I know what's going to happen. So in this vision that I was having, I don't know if it was a vision or a dream. It was a short one. It was about my daughter and this guy. So when my son called me the next morning, I said, when Crystal's boyfriend, who is Crystal's boyfriend? He said, Jordan. You done met Jordan. I said, that was 3 years ago. They broke up 3 years ago. So why is it in my vision? Why is it in the dream, in the midnight hour, coming to me? I had no idea that they were speaking or even dating until Quiet Storm told me the next morning. So what is this dream telling me? Or this vision the night prior? What is it for me to know? He's telling me something. So what I'm saying is, look how quick the verification of the vision and the next morning when Joseph brought it to me regarding Crystal's boyfriend needed his house, his new house cleaned up for because she want to move in it. So what I'm saying is something is going on that is giving me the assurance that this next step that Yah is moving me to is going to be really consist of such hardcore warning. And it's not the type of warning that's going to warn one and then you're going to have to stand back and wait. No. It's going to come as fast as that cup of drink he told me to take down before it fall. It's going to come as fast as the vision was given to me that midnight, 2 or 3 in the morning. And that morning, my son called me, and that's how it was verified that she and him are back together. It came to me that midnight that early morning. Something somewhere is going on. So when he tells me he's wanting me to move into or go to the next step, it's because I have mastered the step in which I am on. I have mastered the step in which I am on. Now he wants me to move up. Okay. And I am willing. I am obedient. This message is, you know how people tell us we fight not against flesh and blood, but against principality in high places. Okay. I want to let you know the fight has not been where you think it is because of what people, and this is the reason why people probably don't see it for what's going on. It says in Ephesians chapter 6, in Ephesians chapter 6, it says, verse 10, finally, brethren, be strong in the Lord, as it says here, and in the power. Why is the Lord, the lowercase Lord, and why is and in there? Because it's letting you know the power is where the strong rest. And it says, and in the power of his what? Might. You see? It's letting you know the might and the power. So we know that it's telling us to be strong in it. Now listen to this. It says in verse 11, Ephesians chapter 6 and verse 11, put on the whole, the what? The whole, not part, but the what? The whole what? Armor. Now the whole armor is trying to bring you down, bring something down, bring you down from flesh to spirit. So you will understand the whole armor. You know how Yeshua came preaching the kingdom is at hand? 99.9 times 15 billion didn't understand it then, and they don't understand it now. The kingdom of heaven means all the authority and power is coming to the earth. And that's the Son of Yah that came down with the Son of Man. He came down with the Spirit, he came down with the Word, and he came down with all power. Okay? So when he said the kingdom of heaven is at hand. So let's look at this here in Ephesians chapter 6 and verse 11. Put on the whole armor. Can you imagine what the whole armor of Yah is consistent of? Just think. The whole armor. You got many people teaching on these platforms that the whole armor is likened to you going into your closet, okay? And you seeing the whole armor hanging up, and you take it and you put it on, and now you in there. This is where he's taking me in the next step that he has ordered in me, is a higher level, but it's a level I have not been, but yet I've been taught of. And here, even in this message here, you hear a lot of people talk about the whole armor, put on the whole armor. No. You can't tell people to put on the whole armor. The armor is not there for them to put on. It is spiritual. Praise the mighty Yah. How could one think that the armor of Yah is something that you can think, feel, go into your closet and put on, as if you're going to have something when you're ready or when you're going through to put on for what is about to come? No, baby, Y'all don't rumble like that. See, because what people don't understand, this armor, you better already have it in you. You see? It's not telling you to go to your closet when times get hard or when you think time is coming and bad time. Put on a whole armor. Sit your tails down. There's no armor of Yah out here that anybody can put on. So stop deceiving and using deception to instill that trash into people's minds. Because that's why people don't have the room to true repentance. That's why people don't know that the fire is kindled and the judgment of the Most High Yah and his wrath is on the earth. Because we're feeding them ways of the flesh to combat what is actually going on the earth in the spirit. And people are eating up what people are teaching in the flesh to where they cannot see the battle and the war that's going on in the spirit. So when it says in Ephesians chapter 6 and verse 11, put on the whole armor of Yah, that ye may. Well, what do may mean? What do you mean, may? That you may. What does that mean? May. That you may. It doesn't mean that you will or you going to. It's letting you know that it's not something that you just think you're going to put on and you got it going on. You can defeat the enemy or the wiles of the devil. But it says here, put on the whole armor of Yah. First and foremost, when you're teaching that, you got to take the people to the armor of Yah first and foremost. The people got to understand it's a state of mind. You have to already be in the what? Spirit. But what we have taught people is it's the state of mind of the flesh to where they're not even prepared for the battle in the spirit that's taking place right here today. Because they are caught up in the battle of the flesh. Because they think that the way that this book prophesies, it has to be laid out where they can see it and believe it. They're not looking at that the book is giving you some insight of what you can read, but it's taking you, the Ruach, take you into the spiritual realm of it to get the fullness of what should have been said or what could have been said. We have enough of it smeared. But then to have us to be living here in before all these people and smear this to where people can't see the spiritual battle that's actually taking place. Okay. So he says again, Ephesians chapter 6, verse 11, put on the whole armor of Yah that ye may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil. Maybe. See that? Maybe. Look at verse 12. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood. We wrestle not against flesh and blood. We wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principality, against powers, against rulers and darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. This verse 12 is letting you know that there is a war going on in the spirit. And we must not get it confused with the war in the flesh. We have to understand this battle of this war that's in Ephesians chapter 6 and verse 12 is a spiritual war, an unseen a war. And same way I'm sitting here telling you, Yah has his prophecies has come to pass, many of them clearly seen I can in the spirit, but 99.9 can't see it because they're looking for the prophecy in the natural so that they can believe based on what they can see in the natural. Well, Sister Deborah here to tell you the war has already, the judgment of the Most High Yah, his wrath and his fire has been kindled. Whether we see it or not, it ain't going to stop him. But we will and we shall see it with our naked eyes. Feel it in our flesh. Oh, yeah. Oh, yes. But this here in verse 12, Ephesians chapter 12 and in verse 11, first and foremost, this is a spiritual battle. That's why you have to put on the spiritual what? Armor. He's speaking of a spiritual armor. To what? To have a fight, not in the flesh, in blood, but have a fight in the spirit. Ooh-wee, Father, y'all. They're going to be in trouble. You see? So when we're teaching this to people, we have to make sure but see, most people are geared to teaching the flesh. So they're teaching it out of the understanding of their flesh. But Sister Deborah, is going to keep on keeping on, doing it in the order in which Yah has given me to bring it forth, because that's the step. For me to have mastered the step that I'm on, and he's taking me to the next step, somebody's about to see something. Oh, yes, you're about to see something. So here, and that's why the vision with my daughter and the cup that I had on the counter. And my husband was telling me about something else. He said that you said, and it was a good one. And it happens right then and there, less than an hour. So it leads me to realize that that next level he's taking me is going to bring warning. It's going to bring warning and big things to you in the spirit realm. I'm going to bring it and you're going to see it right before your very eyes. And it's not going to be next year or year on down the line. It's just how quick it's going to be. That's the ideal of the cup of water being set on that counter, being told to take it down 3 times. After that, doing that third time, bam, it fell. And it was exactly the way that voice said it would be. It's going to spill all over the place. And it did. Within seconds, disobeying the voice. Just about a simple cup standing on the counter. He warned me about. So if he can come to me and speak to me so clear regarding a cup sitting in a secure space, it's going to fall. My daughter getting back with a guy she used to go with 3 years ago. What is that? That ain't my business. Yes, it is, Deborah. Because I'm showing you ahead of time. I had no idea that I would hear from my son telling me that next morning that my daughter and want to know if we would do her boyfriend. I said, who is her boyfriend? Jordan, you met him. I said, no, she ain't with him. Yes, she is. I said, that's it. And that's when I told my son, Quiet Storm, you all don't understand how much danger you all are in. They really don't. Because everything he's giving, I'm just not saying it to you all on this devil platform. I'm saying it to the whole world, even my own children. My ex-husband would tell you the warning I put on him. You better watch yourself. You don't about to know what is about to take place. Because what he's saying is, from now on, Deborah, just as small as that cup, just as small as you being told that your daughter is back with this guy, which it had nothing to do with you, but I'm going to show you that what I'm going to give you is going to show you them exactly what you said. But it ain't going to wait to the end of the year. It ain't going to wait till next year. It's going to be brought right before them. Okay? So here in Ephesians chapter 6, the whole armor we must understand. Stop teaching people, and I can't say that no more because the church teaches. People get it a lot of from the Christian church. Okay, they really do, this whole armor, because they've been taught it a way that doesn't give it its power. You know what I'm saying? You can't pull up with the armor. Wait a minute, hold up, Father, y'all. Hold up. I got a question. The whole armor? Come on now. We got to pull up with something better than that. Teaching people that they can put on. You better put on the whole armor. Wait a minute. You act like it's like going into the closet and get a jacket and put it on and now you ready. You better stop teaching people that trash. We know you short. We know you ain't got spirit and truth. We know you ain't got the light, but they don't know it. That's why they following you. And I guess they need to be lost, because that's where they're assigned, through the gate that is broad, so they can be lost. So when it says in verse 11 of Ephesians chapter 6, the whole armor, y'all need to step out of the natural of that and come into a realm of the whole armor of the Creator. Wait a minute. You're sure not even in that? You're sure it's not in that armor? And we're going to see that. That's just showing y'all. Y'all got this Creator so bent up and down, y'all done made him like the flesh. You can go in your closet and pull out the whole armor when times are hard. This is what he was dealing with me earlier too about. People like to pull on onto him when they times are hard, when they see a struggle coming, when they get sick, when they get in a hospital, when they get bad news about their health, when they lose their job. All that's the time. But guess what? Y'all want me to let you know he ain't pulling up for you during them times no more. Because you all don't understand. You're hanging on grace and mercy. We are in a midnight hour time period. He is not preparing us to think we can walk around here like we are Yah ourselves. And he gets no glory. He gets no praise. He gets no honor. So here it says in verse 12, for we wrestle not against flesh and blood. When it's talking about the whole armor is spirit, and what it's doing is it's kicking out flesh and blood. So he can take you to the level of where the true battle is being fought. Listen to what he says. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principality, against powers with an S, against rulers with an S of darkness of the world, against spiritual wickedness in high places with an S. So notice what we're battling against is why verse 11 says the spiritual armor of Yah has this in full control. His whole armor is what defeats this here. What defeat what, Deborah? Principalities, against against powers, he adding the S to it all, against rulers of darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places with an S. Woo-wee, who got to deal with that? Go up to verse 11, the whole armor of Yah. So you got to know, if it's not flesh and blood, he's trying to get you to understand. Get your nasty flesh out of this, thinking that this is a war of the flesh. This is spiritual. And we run around here thinking this is about us when we get into hard times, or when things come up on us, and when the prophecies are being filled. Now we want to put on something. Sit your tails down. It's no need you putting on nothing, because you ain't even prepared in the spirit realm. So verse 13, it says, wherefore take unto you the whole armor of Yah. Do you know what the whole armor is? We're finna get to that. Now, it says that ye may, look at may there, that ye may be able to withstand, watch this here, withstand in the evil days. That you able to withstand in the evil days, in the evil day. So what is that telling us? The day of darkness is where we're at. This was for the day of darkness, and that is exactly where we at in the end day. Look at the word evil day, D-A-Y. You go to Proverbs 16 and verse 4. I created the evil and the wicked and the wicked and evil for the day of evil. You see? This is the day he's speaking of. I created them though, Deborah. But I want flesh to understand. In this day, the battle, Sister Deborah keep telling y'all that's going on and telling y'all can't see it. You can't see it. You all can't see it. This is what he's telling you right before them. Deborah, this is what before them. But what does he say? And having done all, stand your tail still. Stand. You got to stand still. He said here in verse 13, having done all, to stand. Stand your tail still and know that I am. You see? So what's the sense of putting all the armor on? It's just if it's for us to fight the battle in the spirit. Y'all ain't never gave us a battle to fight in the spirit. We have a hard time fighting the true battle, and that's ourselves. We haven't even saluted that or owned up to it. And I mean, each and every one who said they have the Ruach, they are the living testimony that the flesh can be your worstest enemy. They own that thing. But people who's in the church and in all this make-believes and this deception, they would never own that my flesh is my worstest enemy. They won't own that. So I wanted to show you what Ephesians was talking about the principalities in high places is speaking of spiritual powers that has been created in the end days to be in the spiritual battle. And he said the whole armor, he said, put on the whole armor. That means faith, first and foremost. What faith means? Believing without seeing. What am I believing? That I don't see. That principalities in high places and powers. You see? This is a part of the armor of Yah. See, we thinking the armor is something, a lot of, the only reason why I said that, y'all, everybody teach it like that. That is something you can put on. It's nothing spiritual that you can put on that you don't already have on if you are of Yah. Woo-wee, Deborah, you gonna get in trouble. It's nothing you can put on that's spiritual that you don't already have on. See, because he that's in the flesh would run, and if he had the opportunity, he would run to put on the armor every chance he can when he's in hard time. But the armor of Yah is spiritual. And putting it on means think it. And you think it, it got it all covered. Why? Verse 14, it goes right back. This is Ephesians chapter 6 and verse 14. Stand therefore. So it's showing you it ain't got nothing to do with you. Wait a minute, Father Yah. You mean putting on the whole armor ain't got nothing to do with us? No. Just think that I got this here. And stand your tail still and know that I am, that I am. That's all he said. Now he sits here and said in verse 14, stand therefore. He said the same thing in verse 13. All having done all, stand. He's telling you, stand your tail still. It ain't nothing you can do. I got this. Now watch what he says. Having your learn geared about with truth. Truth is who? Yah. Have that thing that I tell y'all I got wrapped all around me. I got a lot of them. Truth. Having the breastplate of righteousness in your heart. That's a spiritual heart of righteousness. That's one of the brand. Didn't I tell you? That's his brand. That's the whole armor is his brand. The brand is his whole armor. And I told y'all he has a brand that he is. Righteous, belief, faith, and fear are his brands. Hope is in there too because it connects to faith. So listen to this. Verse 14. Stand therefore, having your loins get gird. What is that? Gird about with truth, and having the breastplate of righteousness. Now, when did you gonna have a breastplate to put on? And they so ignorant. They teach these people. These people be, oh yeah, I'm gonna put on the whole armor. Take your tail and put it on if you want to. Good luck. That's why he put in there, you may, because you'd have made it something about you and not seeing it in the spiritual realm. And he said in verse 15, your feet stomp with the preparation of the gospel of the peace. Of peace. There go peace. The gospel. Tell me now, how is that yours? You can just put on. So, and then it says, verse 16, all above all, take the shield of faith. Faith is Yah's brand that he brands his. So you realize what Sister Deborah is trying to tell you is there's no such thing as putting on the full armor of Yah in your flesh. So stop teaching it like that. That's why people don't know the realm and the power and the authority of who he is, because we want to teach him in the flesh so people can only grip the understanding in the flesh. And then when they get caught up from the floor up, they want to run and try to speak to a spiritual God when you wanted to serve him at first in your flesh. You want to make him fleshly instead of keeping him spiritual, keeping him being all that he said he is. Now here he says, truth, righteous, a gospel of peace, what else is faith? And then in verse 17, and take the helmet, put that helmet of what? Salvation. We can't gain salvation without Yeshua HaMashiach. So how you just going to put the helmet of salvation on and you don't even understand salvation in the fullness of what it stood for? Now watch this here. And the sword of the Spirit, which is the word of God. Not the words, not the scriptures, but the word of Yah. You remember Yeshua on the mountain said we don't live on bread alone, but the word that proceed out of the mouth of Yah. These things are spiritual, you guys. So we should not be teaching people, oh, we don't fight it. Yah said we don't fight against flesh and blood. Now I'm going to make you a full lie. That's not what he's talking about. He was telling you that there's a battle in the end days in which we are in. Principalities in high places and powers and all of this. He's warned. Yeah. In Ephesians chapter 13, he said that ye may be able to withstand in the evil day. We know evil ain't one day. That's why you know when he says day, it's the end day. It's the day of darkness and evil and wicked. It's a day prophesied that shall be before us. He's telling you the type of level of what? Principality and power and against rulers and darkness and the world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. He's letting you know him having his armor. Put that on that and stand. Put it on. Put it in your mind that he got this. Victory is already won. This battle. Don't go telling people, oh, all you have to do is put on the armor. He said, put them. It ain't got nothing to do with you nor your flesh. Matter of fact, it ain't got nothing to do with your spirit. This is a war he's telling you that's going to actually take place in this day and time. And that's why he kicked out. Let me show you where he kicked it out. In verse 12, Ephesians chapter 6 and verse 12, he says, we wrestle not against flesh and blood. He letting you know this ain't got nothing to do with flesh and blood, y'all. So I don't know where we get along that we can just put on something and fight this battle. And even putting on the whole armor, he says, stand your tail still. Stand still. He repeated it twice. Letting you know this ain't got nothing to do with you. Think that I got this here. all wrapped up in the armor. And the armor is what? The armor is his truth, y'all. The armor is his righteous, y'all. The armor is his gospel of peace, y'all. There goes some fruit of the spirit and the power. His armor is his faith, his salvation, his spirit, his word. And we run around here trying to claim it like it's something easy to do. And it ain't got nothing to do with us. We can't even apply this to anything outside of where it's at, a spiritual battle between Yah and the evil. That's what this is talking about. That's why he kicked to the side flesh and blood. How do you know that? Let's go. Let's go there. Let's go. Let's go to Galatians chapter 5, verse 16. Galatians chapter 5, verse 16. And this is going to show you the difference in that battle, that we fight not against flesh and blood, and bring us back to reality. I'm going to bring you back to reality, because that fight is not yours. That war, that's not yours. That's Yah's armor fighting against and defeating the evil days. Why? This is where we are to give him the glory and him the praise. We are to be honoring him to the fact that we understand that this day he already got defeated. And he told us, stand your tail down. This ain't got nothing to do with you. Just stand. We don't get it though. We want to teach the people, put on the whole armor. You can't put on no armor of Yah. You don't even know who the power is. Okay, in Galatians chapter 5 and verse 16, and it reads, this I say then, walk in the spirit, and ye shall not fulfill the lust of the flesh. Hear it out. Now right here it says, in verse 16, Galatians chapter 5, verse 16. This I say then, walk. What do you think walk mean? What do one think that when he says walk means what? Live. Live. He's saying live your life in the spirit, and ye shall not fulfill the lust of the flesh. If you what? Live your life in the spirit, and you shall not fulfill the lust of the flesh. Now watch this here. For the flesh lusteth against, look at that word, against the spirit. Now, if the flesh lusts against the spirit and the spirit against the flesh, look like you got a battle going on. Flesh and blood. Flesh and spirit. Flesh and spirit. You see, look like the flesh is battling something. So when it says we fight not against flesh and blood, it does not mean that we do not fight against flesh, y'all. He said, I'm trying to kick y'all stanky tails aside so y'all can see my victory. And here his victory were right there before us, and we didn't see it. Because we're teaching people they have to put on the whole armor of Yah, as if he's telling them to put on something. Baby, you don't even know what the whole armor of Yah stands for. The whole armor of Yah, even Yeshua, can't be added into it. But yet, you're going to category the whole armor as if it's something you can go in the closet and pull out and put on during hard times. Y'all going to be messed up from the floor in these days to come. Because your deliverance ain't going to be before you. It's going to be the judgment of the Most High Yah before you and his wrath. Okay? So here he's telling me in verse 17 in Galatians chapter 5 and verse 17. For the flesh lusts against the spirit, and the spirit against the flesh. And these are contrary, the one to another, to other, so that ye cannot do the things that ye would. So what is it saying? We have in Hebrew, contrary mean the opposite. They're different. They are different. There's always going to be a battle. There's always going to be a what? A fight. So what is it saying in Ephesians chapter 6? We fight not against flesh and blood then. Huh? What do it mean? What does it mean when it says we fight not against flesh and blood? He's letting you know the two spirits in this battle of evil in that day is not detached to flesh and blood. It's a spiritual battle. We should have right then recognized our Father defeating the principality in high places. We should have been taught it so we can see his glory throw up and throw down. And we didn't get to do that because we think it's about us putting on the whole armor. How in the right behind, he's going to tell you to put on the whole armor and then tell you, you stand still and don't you move. That's pretty much what he said. Stand still and don't you move. If the battle is yours to fight. So right then, when he says stand still, he letting you know this ain't got nothing to do with you. I told you this is not a flesh and blood thing. This is a spiritual battle that I'm going to defeat. Give me the glory. Give me the honor. Let me tell you where I'm going to defeat it with. Truth, faith, salvation, the word. He's telling us all his armor he's going to be defeat. The wiles, the principality in high places, the rulers, the powers that study building up on the earth. He's letting you know how I'm going to tear it up and tear it out with all of my armor. And we done took the armor and put it on and said it's us. It's sad. It's a sad thing. And if you can't take this armor, let me tell y'all one thing. You cannot take this armor and put it on yourself today. It's not for you to put on. So what's the sense of putting it on when he tell you to stand? Stand still. He said it twice. It's to let you know it was his glory that was going to defeat this principality in high places. And when he said we, he's speaking of him and his armor against the wiles of the enemy. Principality in high places. Rulers of darkness. We're going to fight this battle. And I'm going to defeat them with my armor of truth, righteous, sword, word, peace, faith, salvation. That's his armor. So we need to sit down. Either we recognize him, give him the glory and the honor and the praise for who he is, who he was, and who he's going to be, because he's going to throw down. We're running around here making it about us. Then he turn around and tell you, and stand, and you got thinking he's telling you. Well, why is you putting on the whole armor and then he still telling you to stand for? Huh? They need to learn how when they read it, they can't have the Holy Spirit if you don't give it to them. So that's just it. So here in Galatians chapter 17, he explained to you that the flesh fight against the spirit and the spirit against the flesh. And these are contrary one to another so that they cannot do things that ye would. So here he's explaining to us that flesh is always fighting against the spirit. So what is he meaning in Ephesians chapter 6? We fight not against flesh and blood. He's not talking in a way that we think that it's for us. He's letting you know how he's going to defeat the wiles of principality without the flesh and blood in the midst. The spiritual war. That's what he's talking about. We got up in there and already claimed it. We can put it on. Sit your tail down. That's not what he's talking about. Okay? And the part we put on is in our minds, trust. Put on it here that we may believe he got it there. He got it covered. That's why he tell your tail to stand. If you stand, what is all this that you have and how you going to defeat if he's telling you to stand still? It's not you. It never was about you. It was about giving him the glory for the victory at the end. Against who? The evil days. And we couldn't even give him the glory for that because we had to put ourselves in it like we do everything else. So here it is in verse 18. It says, but if ye be led of the Spirit, ye are not under the law. Oh, that's one. That's the next message. I'm going to stay up all night until I cover it. Because I think I need to cover this law so people can understand the difference in the both laws. There's two laws, okay? There's two laws. We got to understand the two laws. Why is one saying we're done away with it and one is saying we're not done away? Because you have two laws. You have a law in the spirit that overrides the law in the flesh. And they're trying to get you to understand the law in the spirit is done. The law in the flesh is done away. Yes, yes, yes. It cannot override the law of the spirit. What do you mean, Deborah? When Christ comes, die for you, and you are ushered back to the bosom of the Father in the spirit realm as he is, as it is written, then now the Ruach comes and he's in you. Yeshua HaMashiach, Yah is in you as one. So now you're under that law. Not the tradition that tamed man's flesh, but the tradition that changed a man's spirit. Praise the mighty Yah. We are now under the law of the spirit. Praise the mighty Yah. Let's get there. What does it say? Galatians verse 18. But if ye be led of the Spirit, oh, can you hear it? Can you hear it? Ye are not under the law. What part they don't get? Because they don't understand the spiritual are always going to defeat the flesh. They don't get it. These Hebrew Israelites teach this thing 24, and they got the mass of the multitude through the broad day running behind them. So now I got to back this thing up and land it down so I can go on to my next step. Because I got to get people to hear, at least in my clip of where I was in the last 6 years, what I taught. I want to add this. I don't know what my title going to be, but I'm going to put one on there. And I need people to understand the difference. When I first got on here, I was so confused with why isn't they battling on YouTube about the law and the commandment. It's so confusing to me. It was confusing to me 6 years ago, y'all. As it is, I ain't confused with it today. I was confused with why are they, this is what I had to do. I had to go to Yah. And I used to say, Father, why are they using it like an iron claw? Why are you using the law and the commandment like an iron claw? Why? Because the Ruach taught me that the law that he poured out in the garden to Adam, which was one law and one command and one consequence. He told him the law, he gave him the commandment, and he told him the consequences of it. That was it. All it is instruction, direction, and consequences if you don't follow it. Man didn't turn it into commandment and law and an iron claw. So I thank the Most High for Yeshua HaMashiach coming to die on the cross to do away with the law that man could not be found coming to the kingdom in. Did you know the law of the flesh cannot enter into the kingdom? You all didn't even know that, and you ain't gonna know it. But I'm gonna teach this thing. I'm gonna make sure tonight I master this thing. The law of the flesh It's different than the law of the Spirit. Here go one verse, and we end up running up on it. And I took this one out, and you can also find it in Romans chapter 6 and verse 14. It tells you about the law of the Spirit. It's different than the law of the flesh. And here it says it, but if ye be led by the Spirit, then ye are not under the law of the flesh. The law of the flesh is when people want to make you think that you have to keep these laws and these commandments. They so ignorant till they got into this 600 and all. Stupid people don't understand the flesh can't hold not one law. Y'all didn't understand when the law was given to them, they never, ever, ever kept them. And y'all didn't even understand it, and nor do you understand it today. No one was able to uphold the law, the commandments back then. So we needed a Savior to come. We needed Yeshua HaMashiach to come. Only one knew that is the Father in the kingdom. He predestined that we come back to him through the law of Yeshua HaMashiach. So don't come here with that mess. The law is done away with. The law of the flesh of man that could never, ever keep. Now we ride up and ride out with the law and the commandment of the Spirit. When you understand what law that is, then you'll make you wake up and shake up and say, wait a minute. If there's a law of the Spirit, then wait a minute. That Spirit is Yah. He is the law. Wake up, people. He said when he come up and he pull up, there's no more other law on the earth. Greater is me in thee than he that's in the world. Where is y'all law at? And who gonna rule minds? I am the law in them. I am that I am. I'm greater than the word, that which is in the word. Y'all got a law? Stand down. I'm the law. I'm in them. I am their law. I am their commandment. See, that people ain't got sense. They give man too much power. It's too late though, because their head is bloated and boasted. They only can hear the flesh of another man, which is an idol god. They can't hear the spiritual realm of Yah saying, yes, it's done away with. I pulled up. Who got something to say? Who got something to say? Then he said he pulls up. Yeah, he pulls up. He pulls in. He makes himself. He parts. He began to abide in you and him and that. Who gonna tell me what to do with what is mine? I rule this. I said I'm greater than anything in the world. Now who gonna go over that? I created the law for those who was going to live lawless. I created it. I am the creator of the commandments. So tell me what to do with what is mine. I'm in this one here. I am the law. And as long as I'm in them and they in me, which is for eternal, guess what? Check me out. I told them already, I'm going to hold you blameless. How about that? How about that? That's because no one gives him the authority to be all that answer. He don't have to answer to me, and he don't have to answer to you. He is all that answer. He don't answer to us. We ain't nobody. Just because we want to run around here and teach these people that, oh, the law, you got to keep the commandments. Keep your commandments because it was for you. It's just like speaking in tongues, y'all. When he sung the gift of speaking in tongues, he sung the interpreted as well. But the tongues were really for a lot of people who really don't believe. This was their way of feeling that, okay, there is a Yah. So when the quickening of it comes, it's there for a reason. And he said, Deborah, even that going to seek. And he had to break down to me, it's not going to cease because it's going to cease. It's going to cease because man is going to do away with it. Man is going to do away with it. But yet the gift is still present. And I've still got the gift of interpreting. How about that? Ha, ha, ha. Okay, so here we are in Galatians chapter 5, and now let's go to verse 18, and it says in 18, but if ye be led by the Spirit, ye are not under the law. Now, what law is that? Do y'all understand what law they talking about that you are not under when you of the Spirit? You're not under the law of the flesh. You mean to tell me the flesh got a law there? Yes, they got a commandment and a law. It's for them. Verse 19. Now the works, you see the works with an S on it, of the flesh are manifested, which are these. See, the works of the flesh are already manifested in them. You see? And the works of the Spirit has his manifested with works, which is the fruits. You see? Both of them as if, how would you say, affinity from each other. This is showing you even their works are different. But reason why I brought Galatians chapter 5 and verse 16 and 17 is because it's showing you how the flesh and the Spirit fights against each other. And verses that scripture that says in Ephesians chapter 6, how we wrestle not with flesh and blood. He's letting you know the battle between he that has the armor of Yah and the principality. That battle has no connection to flesh and blood. It's spiritual. He ain't telling you that we fight not against flesh and blood. See, that's why I say we give these spirits, these angels, these demons, we give Satan all his power. If y'all would let Satan speak today, Satan would show y'all that he himself obeys Yah. And that all that we have created him to be, all that and some, is because he got that power through us. Because we've given him that type of power. Okay? So when I get to John, the Gospel of John, chapter 6, and what time is it? Okay, the Gospel of John, chapter 6, and verse 63. The Gospel of John, chapter 6, and verse 63, and it reads, it is the Spirit that quickened, the flesh profit nothing. The words that I speak unto you, they are spirit and they are life. This is what Yeshua is saying. See, he's letting them know that the words that he speaks are spirit and they are life. But it says the flesh profit nothing. So just imagine when they're telling you the law and commandment, that's for the flesh that profit nothing. See, that's what people don't understand. The majority of Judah really following the law and the commandments of the flesh. And y'all want me to say something to you all that you all do not know. And that is, Judah is portraying to follow the law and the commandments for as it stands. But he wants you to know that they don't even keep it. This is how it was in what people call the old, which I don't believe the old or the new as old and new. But back in the days, let me tell you, everything that they did back there, then they wanted to make you think that everything was so upright and just and so righteous. That's why they want to stick to that, so that you can't come today and tell them that, oh, that is done away with. Why? Because that was when they manipulated and deceived everybody. Want me to tell you why? How do you think we got into our captivity? Because our forefathers back in the days, how far back Didn't he warn Abraham where we would be? Even though Abraham wasn't that forefathers, but didn't he warn him in the beginning? Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, when Jacob warned too. You see what I'm saying, you guys? Jeremiah, Ezekiel, Isaiah, wasn't they warned too? Where we would be today? Way back in Deuteronomy 28. That wasn't in what they called the new. So we're paying a penalty of who? Yesterday. Why? Because yesterday never stood on righteous. You get what I'm saying? That's why the Messiah had to come, to get what belongs to Yah, to redeem Yah's back to his bosom through the blood and through the power. You see that? So when they telling y'all about Torah and all the back in the days was so wonderful. No. If yesterday was so wonderful, why is it you in captivity to 2024? If yesterday was so perfect, if yesterday was so righteous, if yesterday was so just, if yesterday was all that they say and try to portray that it was, why are we where we at today? It's because of the product of yesterday that man today continue to hide to try to make today better. Not better. Yeah, better. They think they can make it better. You can't make nothing better when your forefathers did what they did and you repeated it worse. So how you gonna get today to be better? How in a Rex behind are y'all gonna make today better after your forefathers then made it worse, and then you are worse served than your forefathers? So you tell me where you gonna end up better. Y'all better grip the fact that the only better is my Yah, who's gonna establish Zion and restore before he destroy everything. But we need to get out of this thing trying to make ourselves look holier than thou, so upright and just. The commandment as our forefathers knew them has been done away with. People who deny that it has not been done away with are those who already have a ticket to the lake of fire. Why? Because a new sheriff stepped in town. And to deny the fact that when the new sheriff came in town, now we have a new law, a new commandment. And when we don't believe that, and we want to hold on to the old commandment, you stay your tail over there. Hold on to it as long as you can, because I'm going to tell you, a lot of these clowns still holding on to it. That's something I can truly say about the Christians. They didn't understand it. I'm going to be honest with you. They didn't understand it in the fullness, but they understood it enough, little of it in the spirit realm, when it says it's done away with. When you done away with what was yesterday and the Messiah come to bring in a new thing, that's why he wasn't coming to deal with the prophet and the law and the commandment, because that's going to always remain there. Look at today. They sitting here telling you got to keep the commandments and the law. See, they don't want to do away with it. So he letting you know, I ain't come to bother you. That law is for you. I come to fulfill those that my law in me, that the Father sent down with all his power. I come to redeem them. So keep your law. I didn't come here for that mission. I come to bring the newness and restore the law of the Father back into his children. And this is why Judah and Israel can't get it right, because they have no respect for the law of that Yeshua ushered in when he came with salvation, power, spirit, word and deliverance, salvation. And then how dare you tell me I got to take the old law and commandment and bring it to this day after Yeshua and done all that. And that's that whole armor. That whole armor is consist of today. That's why it says the evil day. It's going to throw up. Y'all just showing you, look, y'all, I'm going to throw up on them. I'm going to show y'all, I'm going to defeat their bad butt. The same thing we can defeat evil and wicked with. It's the reason why he was doing that, showing us, showing Sister Deborah. Let's say that, showing Sister Deborah through truth. Ain't you preaching spirit and truth, Deborah? Ain't you preaching the truth? And ain't you speaking it on spirit? Yep. Or you talking about the fruits of the spirit? Yep. That's peace. And what other was there? Faith, Deborah, haven't you told them I'm the brand of faith? I hold faith in my right hand power? Yes. Righteous, didn't you tell them I have the brand of righteousness? See, I'm telling y'all. I know it. It ain't getting through. It don't matter. Y'all say I'm going to always have a ram in the bush. Just like that prophet thought that lady had called out for them to kill all the prophets. He hiding up in the cage. Y'all want to feel, bro? What's your deal? She ain't killed all of nothing. She killed all the unrighteous prophets, but man, get your butt on back down there. I got many. And see, that's what people are messed up at, because they think that the wicked has defeated everything from based on what they could see and believe, to where there's no hope of faith in them that the war has already been won through the Most High Yah. That's one right there in Ephesians chapter 6. The principality in high places. He's telling you how he gonna deal with it. But when he went on to name and everything, that was for us to understand. In that too shall you defeat any enemy. But we don't know nothing about that, because we're so busy taking that and making it about our armor as far as us. We're not understanding he talking about what he and all that he consists can defeat on our behalf. So we run around here telling people put on the whole armor. Oh, this ain't about flesh and blood. Now, wait a minute. Ain't this whole war we defeating right here? First and foremost, our own flesh. We battle daily. And then I heard Paul say, every time I try to do right, I do evil. He's telling you about the flesh fighting against his spirit. We don't get that. We don't want to get that. We don't want to accept that. Now, in the Gospel of John, chapter 6 and verse 63, it says, it is the spirit that's quickened, the flesh profit nothing. Profit nothing. It is the spirit. And when we walk around and give all this glory and this honor and this power, this authority to our flesh, hold up, baby. Just hold up. Hold up just a little while longer. You're going to see your flesh. If it ain't going to have that power of who the Most High Yah is, you're going to find out that Holy Ghost, that Ruach HaKodesh, that Holy Spirit that you claimed you had, it's going to try you by the fire. Praise the mighty Yah. So when I get to Romans chapter 7, verse 22, when I get into Romans chapter 7, verse 22, Romans chapter 7, verse 22. They have, I don't know what they're doing, but I've already seen it, and I know a lot of you all haven't paid any attention to it. I don't know how it's being done. I hear a lot of people saying that notifications, their people are not getting the notifications when there is a live, and they don't understand why are their viewers being cut off, and they don't understand that. But I've been saying that for what, about 7 to 8 months. They've been chopping mines. So since my son enrolled into that monetizing trash, what happens? Now it's like it's even cut down lower. But whatever reason or why the viewers are low, it's all well with me, because the more it's low, the higher is within me. Praise the mighty Yah. That's the narrow gate, in case y'all didn't know. That's the right way. So a lot of people think when you got the broad, then that's when you really in there. Oh no, baby. It's when you got the least and the less. You can walk on through. And all of those that are with you can go on in through the narrow gate. Let me give you an example. I was coming home around by 6, before I went live, and it was talking to me about Abraham. And it was talking about how, this is why I say you really don't understand when you are for Yah's versus when you really against Yah. Yah already know who's who and what's what. He knows who he can use to do his right hand. Okay, I like that too. He know who he can use to obey him. That's the beauty of the Most High Yah. He know it wouldn't be the one that you would expect. It would be the opposite. You wouldn't even expect it, but Yah will only use the one he know he can use to do what he want to do. Isn't that beautiful? And this is what he told me. He said, Abraham, didn't you see me go to Abraham before I went into Sodom and Gomorrah? And I said, yeah, I was teaching that the other day. He said that you noticed that Lot was in that city. So, he had been there for quite a while. He said, I went to Abraham because Abraham had a heart for Lot. Yah felt Abraham's heart for Lot. And that's why he went in and made sure he brought Lot out. Yes, his wife didn't come out because her heart was there. His daughters and him came out. Yah mighty right hand brought Lot out before he destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah and the other surrounding cities. So my thought instant when he said that, how he did that for Abraham, I said, wait a minute, hold up. Now, didn't Abraham want Ishmael? What about his son? Sister Deborah ain't right. I said, what about his son? He said, okay, look at that same situation. Abraham had that son. Ishmael was his son. His heart was for his son. His heart was greatly for his son. Y'all didn't know Abraham did not want his first son to have to leave. He did not want it. But the Father was showing me his one. After I gave him the vision that he was going to have a son, he turned and did the opposite of what I told him in the vision. So that was the bonds. But the free was mine that I prophesied to him. He disobeyed me. Just as David disobeyed me, taking that woman's husband and living with that lady. See, a lot of us, we want to give them all glory and all this, and they did this, they can do this, they can do this, because these men are eyeballing the flesh of these men. They're not eyeballing the spirit walk that they had with the Most High God. They want to mimic their flesh action. Flesh, born of the flesh, is about the flesh. It's the lust of the flesh. That's what they want to keep up with. That's the reason why polygamy is so heavy on their hearts, and they feel like I can teach this to the inner earth. And when you finish teaching it, guess what? You already got your ticket to the lake of fire. And you know what else I don't care for? Is how they want to control you in what you say. That's why I'm going to make sure I get off of this one. Have him to take me off, because they're not only taking the views, they're also taking everything away. The agreement is, I don't know what the agreement is. My son said that, but the agreement to me in the spirit realm is, okay, we tag every word you say is certain things you cannot say. And if you understand the words that you cannot say, you'll say, well, why can't you say that? It's because they don't want you to come nowhere near warning you the truth of the whole matter. I mean, from any corner, with words you would say, well, why would they care about that word? They do, y'all. And that's what I don't like. I don't like that. Not at all. Then I'm looking at this and I'm like saying, I'm going to have to stop saying anything according to the scriptures. I'm going to have to stop saying anything according to spirit and truth. Because the words they got locked in that you can't say, they are covered by spirit and truth. They are covered based on these scriptures here, the instructions and direction book. So it's almost hard to teach truth in the way truth, you know truth, or either you give up teaching truth and be monetized, or you give up monetized and preach truth. And that's exactly what Sister Deborah's going to do. Because I know the hour in which we are, not the hour, the day in which we are is pitch dark. We're going into blue black. That's darker than pitch dark. So therefore, it is not time to play with people in what I'm saying, what I'm being told, and the warnings in which he's about to pour out on me to give unto the people. So when I get to Romans chapter 7, verse 22, listen to this. Romans chapter 7, verse 22 through 23. Romans chapter 7, verse 22, verses through 23. For I delight in the law of Yah after the inward man. Okay, there another one go, y'all. Ain't that beautiful? That is beautiful. Romans chapter 7, verse 22. Listen to what it says. For I delight in the law of Yah after the what? Inner man. You see, that's the law that took the place of the law of the old. The law that's in our inner man took the place over the law in our fleshly man. Praise the mighty God. So if the Ruach come and he's living in me, how can he let me try to tame the law that he is? How could the creator of the law be told how the law is to be set forth? See how crazy we are? We're so sick, we sick. We think we can rule him from the spirit realm as well as the flesh realm, and he don't even deal with the flesh, but that's the way we teaching the people, is to be controlled by the flesh realm. Now listen to this. Oh my goodness. Romans chapter 7, verse 22. For I delight in the law of Yah after the inner man. Inward. So the inward man is what? The spirit, child. They don't want to hear that. I can understand what they're saying. I understand exactly what they said. They said we got to get rid of Paul. We don't want to hear Paul no more. We don't want to hear. But what about Paul saying women are not to speak? You still listen to Paul there? Women are not supposed to speak. They have to keep silent. But wait a minute. You don't listen to Paul and nothing else. Why you listen to Paul and that? And the women are so ignorant, they don't understand. If y'all didn't tell you, you can't just say a man said it. Because what Paul was doing, Paul was dealing with them because all of them was proclaiming they were bishops and pastors and priests and all of them was claiming position, and they were getting into it with each other. And they did not, he said, don't let the women get in it mixed up in it. Women, if you want to know what's going on in the church, wait till your husband get home and he'll explain it all. Because they got a lot of chaos up in here. See, y'all didn't know that, did you? That's what Paul was talking about. They got these men got so much chaos going on up in this church. Women, stay out of it. Keep your mouth silent. You want to know what all this chaos they got going on? All this pride, this boasting, this boosting. Exactly what they doing today. All this debate. I tell you what, women, you want to know what they doing? Hey, check with your husband when you get home. Don't get involved in all of this. Just keep quiet in the church because they doing all kind of trash. That's the truth of the matter today as well. even on this devil platform. A lot of that trash is being done. I'm sitting here seeing so many men coming out, and it's just like, woo, where are all these men coming out saying they the chosen one? How are they all coming out preaching and teaching? How are all these men ministering? How are all these men prophets? Where are they coming? Many false prophets shall rise, and they have risen with lies. That's why they false. And I like it though, because don't forget, just like the law and the commandment is for those that is of the flesh, when that give them the false prophets, then they seem to listen to them pretty well. So that's about right. That's about right. So it says here in verse Romans chapter 7, verse 22. Now I'm starting to see why they want to get rid of Paul, because Paul cutting up from the floor. But I'm going to bring in the Old Testament, as they call it, and I'm going to run that down with the new one, and I'm going to still come up out of Paul and still show them what the law y'all running up on, because I'm going to let Yeshua HaMashiach break that door down on their tears about this law, about this commandment, I mean. Now watch this here. Verse 23, Romans chapter 7, verse 23. But I see another law in my members. Woo-wee! Don't you say that, Paul. That's why they trying to get rid of you, Paul. What are you saying? This is what Paul said. But I see another law in my member. Two laws, two commandments. Didn't I tell y'all? There's a commandment for the flesh. There's a law for the flesh. And there's a law for the spirit, and there's a commandment for the spirit. You have to spiritually be able to divide the two. Once you're able to divide the two, then you can throw down. But you can't tell nobody until you're able to separate the spirit from the flesh. Until you're able to divide the two, then you still stuck on nothing. Okay? Listen to what Paul said. He first said about the law in his inward man. Verse 23, he says, but I see another law in my members, warring against the law of my mind. This is how powerful the law of the flesh is. It'll torment your mind and your heart. That's how that law will. And that's why a lot of people is hung up on it. We got to keep the law, the commandments. See, he's saying there's a war going on. Paul is saying, wait a minute, y'all. Tell them, Deborah. I'm letting them know that there's a war going on here. And this is a different law in me that's cutting up from the floor. Now watch this here. He says, verse 23, but I see another law in my members, warring against the law of my mind and bringing me into captivities to the law of sin, which is in my members. See, that's what they want to defeat y'all with. This law that they think that they gonna pull up back in Torah and bring it and set it in front of you and say, bam, you better follow it. Wait a minute, baby. Wait a minute. The sheriff didn't come in the old. He came in what y'all call the new. So the new sheriff in town carried the new commandment and the new law within. So what is your law and what is your commandment? Stay your tail down in Torah. Live and die there and see how far you get. But they want to manipulate you back then as if the Messiah never came on the scene to bring in, to usher in what? That which we couldn't keep back then. So he brought a new way. I'm going to put that bad boy in you. When I come in you and abide in you and you in me, you got a new law. You got a new commandment living in you. I am the commandment. I am the law. I'm the law of the spirit. I'm the commandment of the spirit. Tell them to sit down, clowns. Y'all cutting up about nothing. And so Paul was able to see the difference in the the laws within him. But he said, I want to follow, Deborah, the law that's in my inner man. I don't blame you, baby. You better. So if you run around here thinking that the law is greater on the outer man than it is on the inner man, you go right ahead, because you don't have the law of Yah in you. You don't have the Ruach HaKodesh living in you. That's what people who battle the law on the outside is those who don't have the law on the inside. People who battle the commandments on the outside because they don't have the He that created all commandments on the inside. Then he turns around and said, Deborah, tell him, when I get you to the other side, I'm going to hold you blameless. How about that? How about that? Why you going to hold me blameless, Father? Yeah, because I was greater in you than anybody in the world. I was great in you. So who can defeat that? You think the law of your outer man, you think the law, the commandments of your outer mindset can override he that created the law itself? You said. You said. So I think it is best that y'all allow it to rumble the way that it is rumbling in the world today. I kind of feeling this thing that it's okay, Deborah. It's going to be okay. It's going to be okay, Deborah, because they're going to keep walking in this darkness all the way to the end. Just like the days of Noah. He said, did anybody show up at the ark? Did anybody come in, Deborah? Come on, Deborah. Let's one woman and her baby, a woman that's pregnant, a woman and her son. Nobody did it. See, y'all don't even understand. Did anybody come out of Sodom and Gomorrah? No. I wonder why not one woman that's pregnant, one man. One son, one wife, one woman. Nobody pulled up, did they? But Lot, the one y'all brought out. You see? We ain't getting it. We ain't gripping it. That y'all rule. He ruled his thing. He ruled it from his kingdom all the way down to the uttermost darkness as far as infinity can go. He rules it all. When we get that mindset that he has all that type of authority, power, and he is all that, he's the I am as I am who I say that I am and some. So when I get to the Gospel of John, chapter 3, when I get to the Gospel of John, chapter 3, yeah, we always want to put him up in the corner somewhere. Get in the corner and do what we tell you to do. Don't you come out. We got laws and commandments out here. That's how we treat him. It's okay. Hey, Deborah, I got a ram in the bush for him. I got a ram in the bush for him. The Gospel of John, chapter 3 and verse 5. I know that's right, Father. And that ram gonna be fire. And you know, like what? Okay, this is what I'm saying to y'all. Since my son enrolled me in the monetizing, every word that I'm saying is a threat to them. I don't know if y'all know that right now. You see, they're not going to like what I'm saying. And I like that too. That's all good for me. Oh, Gospel of John, chapter 3 and verse 5 through 9. The Gospel of John, chapter 3, verse 5 through 9, and it reads, and Yeshua answered, verily, verily, I say unto thee, except a man be born of the water and of the Spirit, he cannot enter into the kingdom. That which is born of the flesh is of the flesh, and that which is born is of the Spirit is of the Spirit. Marvel not that I say unto thee, ye must be born again. All right, now being born again means now you're a new creature. All things pass away. Oh no, all things pass away. Wait a minute, what about the commandments? All things passed away. Wait a minute, what about the law? All things pass away. You are a new creature under a new commandment, under a new law, because he that come in you after you have accepted, oh yes, Yeshua HaMashiach, he that comes into you, he is the law. He is the commandment. Who's going to tell him what to do with what is his? How can any man override? Greater is he that is in you than he that is in the world. They can't step in front of me nor on any side as long as he is greater in me than on my side, left and my right of whoever else is there rumbling their ugly mouth. All right? Now here go Yeshua responding to them. In the Gospel of John chapter 3, in verse 7. No, let's go back to 6. That which is born of the flesh is flesh. That which is born of the Spirit is spirit. Now, I want you to take a look at the spirits. We got two spirits here. You got two spirits here. The uppercase and the lowercase. The uppercase and the lowercase. The Father on the throne, that's his uppercase. And your spirit, your own spirit, is the lowercase. So he's telling you, being born of his spirit to your spirit. His spirit to your spirit makes you born again. You see what I'm saying? And y'all, you abide in him and he in you. But it's his power, who he is, his spirit, now taking over your spirit. And we're together in this now. Now, who in the rats behind think that they can override the spirit? He that is born of the spirit. How can you override that? Spirit high and spirit low, capital spirit, lowercase spirit. How can you defeat that with your law and your commandment on the outside? How can the law of this world could defeat the spirit that's born of the spirit and spirit? Look at what he said. The Gospel of John chapter 3, verse 6. Just look at it. You notice you don't see flesh capitalized. Because y'all sitting here letting you know, Satan ain't nothing. Your flesh ain't nothing. Your flesh ain't nothing. Why I'm going to capitalize it? It's just flesh on flesh. But come on here. Take it a little further. Go on. And that which is born of the who? The Ruach of Yah is spirit. He's letting you know, when I come in you more than what the world is and what it stands for. And no law and no commandments on the outside going to override what you and I have invested in each other. Whenever people get to that level, they'll realize all this other stuff been lies. But they can't get there because they believe the lie. Then they believe the truth. So he poured out much delusion on this day and time of many, so they can believe the lie, teach the lie, preach the lie, live the lie, die the lie. The delusion the juice has been poured out on them, so they can just believe whatever they desire to believe. So what it says, verse 7, marvel not that I say unto thee, you must be born again. What's the sense of being born again, though, Father, if we're going to still have to follow the same law that they follow in the flesh? What's the sense of being born again? That's the idea, Deborah. Being born again. And if you're not born again, you're not born of the spirit, and your spirit and my spirit abiding together. That's born again. You must be born again. You become a new creature, Deborah. Old things pass away. It tells you that. And what are the old things passing away? The things of the flesh. The things of wicked and evil. They pass away. You are new now. You are newness. Why? Because this ruach of him that sits on the throne, you finna clean your tail up a little bit, something. He's gonna clean your tail up a little bit, something. And he's gonna have his own law sitting up in you and his own commandment. Now, who gonna tell him what to do with his? If he's greater in you, then who on the outside telling you that you ain't great because you ain't following the commandments and the laws that they understand for their flesh? Those are for you to follow in your flesh. This law and commandment that's in me is greater than your law and your commandment on the outside that you have to follow from your tradition of your forefathers. You're following the same sin of your forefathers, and it's worse, so you might as well follow the same tradition in Torah. You're doing the same darn thing, he says. That's why he took you way back to the Genesis 6 when he destroyed Noah. It's gonna be back. Yeshua poured up. It's gonna be like the days of Noah, Deborah. It's gonna be like the days of Lot. Wait a minute, why y'all going way back yonder? Because I'm showing you how nasty it was back then. I I know they make y'all think Torah was all it was about. But come on, pull up, go back. It wasn't that beautiful picture, that holy then thou picture they trying to paint. Let me show you something else. Abraham, he took Abraham down. He took Abraham up in the spirit, okay, for the spiritual vision. He took Abraham down in uttermost darkness for the dream of us being where we at. No pastor, no bishop, no prophet, no apostle, no prophetess, no smori, no seers, no nobody can bust that bubble. Man, one can teach it nor preach it. They couldn't teach it and preach it anyway. Y'all said he didn't give it to them to preach spirit and truth. See, that makes sense. To many, they lost with the cost and without. You see? So now here he goes here in verse 8, the Gospel of John chapter, did I go all the way to 8, all the way down to 9? And he said, now this is what's powerful, y'all. Yeshua is kind of going off to me. This is how I see it. And it's going off because he's stepping in a realm that you can't even reach. Yeshua speaking in verse 8 in a realm that you can't even grip. Listen to this. But before we can get to that, we got to go back to 7 and bring it down to 8. And he said, moreover not that I say unto thee, ye must be born again. Now he's finna break it down to it. Watch this here. The wind blow with wherever it listen, and thou hear it, the sound thereof. But can you tell hence it come from? Tell me where the wind come from. You can what? You can hear the sounds of the wind. Pull up and tell me if you can tell where it come from. What are you trying to say, Deborah? Watch this. And whether it goes. Tell me where the wind come from and which way did it go? Can you tell me where the wind come from and which way did it go? No, you can't. Watch this. So is everyone that is born of the Spirit. You ain't got the right to tell them how they are born of the Spirit. You can't tell the wind. Ain't nobody where the wind come from. And where's the wind coming from, y'all? Where is it coming from? Wait a minute. Where is the wind going? Said Yeshua. That's a sense of humor. Y'all, you didn't get it, did you? He's checking them. You want to sit and question born again? Let me tell you how deep it is. Tell me which way the wind cometh and which way it goeth. Tell me what Abraham said, what the Most High said to Abraham. Count the stars in the sky. Count the stars. See if you can count them. If you can. That's what the Most High said to Abraham. Count the stars. The sand in the sea. The stars. If you can, because you can't. So Yeshua is telling them, these smart Alex, that they wait a minute. Since you want to question being born again, let me put it like this. Where's the wind come? And tell me where it come and where it going. Then it's like unto, watch this here. So if everyone is born, so is everyone born of the Spirit. You don't know where it come from and where it's going. Stand down, clowns. Y'all so worldly, it's crazy. I love that. He had to, and right today, I still say, over people's head today, year 2024, a pastor, a bishop, a priest, an evangelist, a prophet, a prophetess, a Maureen, a seer couldn't break that down to y'all like that. It's impossible. This is how it's important that you're led by the Ruach to be able to read this into this. I'm sitting here looking at Yeshua. In a sense, to me, it's like he's going off. They missed it. Because what he was asking them was, can you tell me which way the wind blows or where it's going? No, you can't. So don't come telling me being born of the Spirit. How can that be? Ain't none of your business. Even if I told you, you still wouldn't know. Tell me where the wind blows and where it's going. They can't tell them. So he's just showing you that when they come to me, Deborah, talking dumb, I go to them. I go with them to the dumb city. You want to tell me about how can this be that and why not, and marvel not that I say be born again, yet must be. I mean, it said in verse 7, marvel not that I say unto thee, ye must be born again, because they didn't believe that. Oh, what are he talking about? He talking some crap. We can't be born again. But he's just letting them know. Don't you feel the wind? Don't you hear the wind, or don't you feel the wind? Tell me where it's coming from and where it's going. So if you can't tell me, in a sense, it's leveling up with, so is everyone that is born of the Spirit. It's a spirit thing, y'all. That's what he's trying to tell them. Just as hard as it is for you to tell me where the wind go and where it's coming from, it's hard for you to grip the fact being born of the Spirit, even to today. That's why people, they can't grip the fact that the law and the commandment, as they knew it through Abraham, them, is done away with. They don't get it. That's what they can't grip it. Just like these people can't grip being born again. Even to today, 99.15 billion don't understand what born again is. Because before you're able to be born again, you got to know about the power. And nobody knows about it. It's a part of the mystery. Now, what time I have here? Okay, I got one more. The Gospel of John, chapter 4 and verse 24. The Gospel of John, chapter 4 and verse 24. It reads, Yah is a spirit, and they that worship him must. Oh, no, we can't worship you in no spirit. We can't worship you like that. We ain't going that route. We ain't finna worship you in that way. Wait a minute. The Gospel of John, verse 24. Yah is a spirit, and they that worship must worship him. And you see that lowercase spirit? You see that lowercase spirit, you all? Do you all see the lowercase spirit there? This is how and why Sister Deborah tried to make sure she instilled in those that listen. There's no such thing as a soul. It was placed there to confuse you in understanding. It's flesh and spirit. Ain't no middleman. Ain't no mind, thought, heart, and all that old in a middle petition outside of Yeshua HaMashiach. So right here it says, the Gospel of John chapter 4, verse 24, Yah is a spirit, and they that worship him must worship him in what? In your spirit. And this is why you all don't understand the power of you being able to have Yah abiding in your spirit and having your spirit controlling your flesh. And this is why I would advise anybody, any woman, any man, to never want anything submissive under you regarding the flesh. But what they do is they don't give a rat's behind if your flesh is submissive to you. If you let your flesh be submissive to them. All they want is the power and control that Satan wanted on the throne. That's what you're getting out of the men today. That's their desire. They want the same power that Satan wanted on the throne. He wanted in the kingdom. That's what type of power that's being portrayed even here on the earth. and don't understand over in Ephesians chapter 6. Yah is breaking down to us in the evil days how he going to defeat the power with the whole armor. And already told us it ain't got nothing to do with flesh and blood, y'all. This is a war between me and the what? The principality in high places. And I want y'all to understand something. I keep trying to instill in people, you all need to stop lying about a battle and a war and a fight. How can you fight he that created you when he can destroy you at a blink of an eye? What would he look like being down there fighting you? So when you, watch this here. So when you pull up to, let me show you what I'm talking about. But I like this here. He's letting, right here, the Father is trying to show you, the Father is trying to show you here in the Gospel of John chapter 4 and verse 24, okay? We can only worship Yah in our spirit because that's the only part that he abides in is our spirit, okay? And what did it say? And, you see the word and? Truth. And truth. So for the last 2.5, maybe 3 years, I've been talking about spirit and truth. Spirit and truth. You got two spirits. You see it in verse 24. You got the Yah spirit and you got a lowercase spirit, which is yours. And what? You see the word and? In truth. We have to meet in truth. Yah is all truth. He is a spirit. He wants to meet you in your spirit. So what? Truth can be given unto you. See, y'all thought truth come out of the mouth of everybody. No, I can speak spirit and truth, but I'm speaking spirit and truth because the spirit that's in me is truth. Oh, yeah. You see, I cannot say that this is my truth. I can say that it is his truth. Because it says his spirit and your spirit worship. You can worship him in your spirit and he abides there. And something else is there. Truth. So when you get to Ephesians chapter, let me show you something here. Let me show you how simple it is. And I get so sick of people trying to make people think that y'all have to fight somebody. Y'all bent up and down and all around too. In the book of Ephesians, watch this here. I'm gonna just show you something. In chapter 6, if you notice, it talk about putting on the whole armor of Yah that ye may be able to stand. Oh, there it is. It's even using the word stand against all the wiles of the devil in verse 11. And then it says in verse 13, the end two words was, all is done to stand. See, it's telling you to stand. So it letting you know this ain't got nothing to do with flesh and blood, who you are. This is a spiritual battle. Watch this here. And then on verse 14, here go the word stand again. So he's telling your nasty flesh, stand down and recognize this is a battle of the spirit. And then he said, having all, he letting you know, having all about with truth, righteous. No, he didn't say that. He said with truth, breastplate of righteous, the gospel of peace, faith, salvation, spirit, and the word. How did all that defeat principalities in high places? You see, you don't need to throw up no deuce. He don't need to be fighting out here and cutting up like our stupid tails. He don't need to be shedding nothing. He defeated it with what? Truth, righteous, the gospel of peace, faith, salvation, spirit, and the word. Wait a minute. Didn't you just say? Wait a minute. We wrestle not against flesh and blood. but against principality and powers and rulers and darkness of the world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. Hold up now. So this is a wrestling like in a war sense. But guess what? It's only defeated by what? Truth, righteous, the gospel of peace, faith, salvation, spirit, and the word of Yah. And you stand your tail still and know that I am, that I am. See, we run around here thinking it's the battle of Satan, so tough and bad and strong. He ain't crap. Never was, never will be, but we won't give the glory to the Father. We want to take it for ourselves. Oh, we got to put on a whole armor to defeat the rock. Sit your tails down and stand. It tells you 1, 2, 3 times to stand. You understand what stand means? Stand don't mean you fight a battle. It means you stand your stupid tail still and grip what's going on. Well, we can't, because to grip what's going on, he get the glory. And we don't. That's where the problem is at. We want all the glory to rest on us. We don't want to give it to where it's due. And I say again to you all, as I said unto my son, Quiet Storm, as I said unto my ex-husband, you better watch yourself, because what Yah is about to do with Sister Deborah, it's going to be off the chain warnings. So I, Sister Deborah, hope that you got something out of this message this evening, and understand when it says we fight not against flesh and blood, it doesn't mean you. It's speaking of him against the principality in high places. Because he constantly telling you stand your tail still. And it wasn't that it was a wrestle or a war like we know war and wrestling and battling. It's the battle of his righteousness, his faith, his breastplate of righteousness, his helmet of salvation. He letting you know I got victory all around the map. While y'all sitting around here thinking it's all about a war and a fight. So I tell you what, I leave that for you. Because I have prophesied. I leave that for you. So I, Sister Deborah, hope you got something out of it. I appreciate each and every last one of you who have tuned in. And again, I really don't care too much about the views or the lights and all of that. It doesn't mean anything to me. Nothing is greater than giving the light of spirit and truth of the Most High Yah's word. I'm going to be up all night because I'm going to stay into it and not go to bed until I break down the law and the commandments in the natural of the flesh versus the law and the commandments of the spirit. So I hope you all, I pray that you all have a pleasant evening tonight. And like I said, again, they are tampering with the views, and it's okay. Don't be discouraged because you see less views. That's them. They doing that. And I think somebody said something on several videos regarding monetize, is that it cuts all your views down by great numbers. And it basically are paying you, in a sense, for their commercials. So it ain't about how many views you have or something like that. I think that's what he was saying, something like that. But I still don't like the idea, because it doesn't. When you're dropping someone, let's say in 24 hours in one day, you dropping 75 to 100 off the viewers, that don't look good, and it don't appear to be good. But you got to think, ain't no good in this. Check that out. Ain't no good in this. It ain't nothing about it meant to be good. So my son said, just do it for this month. And I told him that'll be fine, because Yah has already moved me to a different level in where he wants me to walk therein. So again, I appreciate each and every last one of you all tuning in, and I hope that you got something out of it. So have a pleasant evening. Good night.